obviously you and I have similar personalities, right? And we're
Yes.
we're we're really pushy. But now we're aligning, but you can see how we could be incredibly annoying to people. Like
Yeah.
absolutely the fucking worst, right? I
Well,
th
you still have your hair, but all jacked bald guys are the same race.
oh
And
no.
like, eventually you'll like I know black guys that are
Yeah.
identical to me, but it's a size thing for sure.
I think it's like we're gonna be in shape no matter what. We're gonna have our
Yes.
calluses no matter what, because we're gonna but like for me, like my before and afters, like, oh, look at this fat guy. Like like I'm gonna have calloused hands because I can just dissociate and hit my mark. But to push the fat programmers to where they need to be, like I see that. Or like if my book can transform someone's life, where they can have a certain kind of life where they now eligible to get married, now eligible to have a house, right? So I think as leaders, like it's not really about you, it's about what the people who listen to you accomplish under your wings, because I think you and me, like, we're a certain percentage, and like a fanatic is gonna do it no matter what, like you can see it in the eyes. Like if I had to wrestle you, it's gonna be a fight,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. Yeah,
And
for sure.
you
Yeah,
just see the
I
eyes.
always bring this up to people. You talk about like arbitrage or comparative advantage for like getting girls or getting a job or whatever. But violence is very similar too. So I lived in New York for 7 years, and the second neighborhood I lived in New York was Bed-Stuy. I
Okay.
don't know how familiar you are, but Bed-Stuy is like probably the biggest neighborhood in Brooklyn.
Okay.
By which my point is when someone tells you like they lived in Bed-Stuy or they use it as a shorthand, it doesn't tell you shit because there's actually parts of Bed-Stuy that are not that bad at all. And then there's parts of Bed-Stuy that are among like the worst neighborhoods in New York, okay? I lived in the shitty part that flanked East New York.
Okay.
And I never had any fucking trouble in this neighborhood, despite the fact that people who lived below me got like robbed at gunpoint inside the fucking building. And the reason is if you could make a choice and you could stick me up or basically a question mark, you're probably going to roll the dice on the question mark because look, you might even win, but I'm going to hurt you really, really
It's
bad.
not worth it. It's just a high
It's
cost.
not worth the squeeze, man. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not.
And getting to that level in life where you just look like, I really don't want to fuck with that guy. Like, let me get out of his way. You don't have to be a big bully, but it does mean other people can no longer bully you. And that's a really nice place to be.
I think like people like us are always going to succeed. It's just and we're also going to bully, right? Because like you can see in my writing that of course this guy bullies. Um,
But again, I do so to compliment you or whatever. It does seem like there is a kind of benevolent like to
it better be,
I don't
like
know if this is a cringe
sure,
comparison, but like you're familiar with Mark Ripito, I'm sure. Yeah.
sure, okay,
What people really vibe with that guy is all aesthetics. It's not the program, it's not the fucking barbell, it's none of this shit. It's that it's very Lindy, it's simple, but he has this kind of authority when he speaks, how he points his finger and he
right.
fucking means it.
He is a fat hand.
Yeah, and if you so like whatever, this is not like some therapy bullshit, but I didn't have like a lot of like strong like male role models around
Okay,
me when I was a kid. So in college it's just the fucking longhouse, so there's really none around. But when I graduated college, all my first group of friends were like these like tough like farm boy like wrestler guys from Michigan. And when I was around them, I instantly got into working out because you just shake someone's hand and you feel their hand and you're like, how the fuck do I do that? Well, how you do that is a lot of pull-ups and a lot of push-ups. You're going to learn how to jog, like all this stuff or whatever. But
okay,
when you are exposed to the real deal, like I said, like if someone shoves a piece of steak in your mouth, you really can't argue whether it tastes good or not. You can have some like fake reaction and like spit it out and be a loser about it. But like at the end of the day, a fucking piece of steak cooked well with some salt and pepper is goddamn delicious.
right,
And so it's like it's a sin for you to not expose people to these ways of living because they make them more human. They live a more robust, vital life. And if you deprive people of that, you're actually just being the people who already rule us, like the lizard people,
Lizard
who
people,
they
yeah.
don't want you to eat steak. They don't want you to be Jack. They don't want you to fuck a hot Spanish girl. They don't want you to own property. But it's actually a lot of fun to bury your dick in a like Spanish girl with a fat ass. It's a lot like owning property is like annoying sometimes, but it's actually kind of cool.
I think like people talk a lot about like masculinity and leadership, and like just be careful not to enjoy your male role. Like I have this whole thing on masculinity, right? Symbolic masculinity, obscene father, and how the role of like masculinity itself is a charade, right? Where you dress up like Santa Claus or we act like a personal trainer, right? You're a cheerleader, and most of our authority is a peacock waving its tail around, right?
For sure.
And also in personal training, you also get a feeling for your like mortality, right? Because you take your pre-workout, you either take steroids or you know someone who takes steroids, and you're like, okay, well, you're gonna live for a period of time, period, right? So I would say that there has to be a certain kind of rush to use what you have and push people as far as you could in this short time that you have, right? Like
Yes.
don't get caught up into enjoying your, your beard, your muscles, your shoulders, because those are all gonna rot at some point. Either you'll die big like Rich Piana, and then they whatever. But there's a certain kind of timing. In like Lacan, it's called jouissance. It's a masturbatory self-enjoyment where you fucking jerk yourself like, oh, I'm so good, I'm so good, I'm so good. I'm with you when you're 19, but you need to roll that into the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, because it's a lot shorter. Those years go a lot faster than you think. So I guess that like I'm all for masculinity, but there's masculinity accounts on Substack who I shit on.
Oh,
Um,
dude, fuck these people. Dude, one of these little
okay.
pricks, fucking, there's no way he even read the article. Like, last week, like right before like Easter or something, these guys like, shut the fuck up or something and retweets it. And I was just like, this dumb motherfucker, I'm gonna get all these views now.
Right.
And I got a few thousand, like, but yeah, there's this like, it's very funny to me to watch because like whatever I raise cats and shit like for
Okay.
fun, and you see the little ones, they think they're real gangster. Like
Right.
a 2 pound cat is knows it is the hardest cat around,
Right.
whereas it's like an 18 pound cat will let you take a couple swipes at it and is just gonna roll over and be like fuck off because like
Right.
it's fly, right? When I see these guys, like it's like they stick their finger in your chest, like they're picking a fight with you, and there's nothing there. It's like I know it has to look silly to women, right? Like
Right.
they're like it looks like a 2 pound cat is what it looks like. You never look like the big dog on the block.
There's really not that much fighting on Substack. I was kind of waiting for more.
There was like a year ago or so,
Okay.
but like a lot of those people like they're just kind of like ankle biters, right? Like, dude, you can block. Like, I almost never block. I do sometimes. I mute people. Dude, I've muted people and then found out that they were paid subscribers
Oh,
before.
what? There
Because,
was
what's the point in fighting, right? I'm gonna let them like call me a Jew or a faggot in the comments and like move on with my day. Like, what am
I
I?
my favorite is to just call them and then be like, hey, like you're really angry. Can you just like explain to me?
Yeah.
Like politely, like just like if you want to have a big argument, like we can do that, I'm going to be respectful. And some of those conversations ended up really good,
Oh,
actually.
they do. I've for sure had people who were like going at it with me who ended up subscribing or whatever. I'll tell you an observation I have, which is they are not that common, but when they occur, there's a witching hour for this shit, okay? And
Okay.
it's like the incel witching hour. It is early morning on a Saturday or Sunday, like
Okay.
far earlier than you should be up or be checking Substack.
Okay.
But I wake up at like 4 a.m. every day pretty much, so I'm always up at those stupid hours.
Right.
But it'll be like 9 a.m., 8 a.m. on a Saturday, and you just get that little notification, and it's always a guy He's usually elder millennial or Gen X or boomer, but we're talking like 40s plus. You know, he is like wearing flannel, listening to like shitty fucking sad rock, just like whatever makes you want to slit your wrists.
Okay.
And he has like he's either has like a boomer lib take, like a Beto O'Rourke sticker on his
Oh,
car, or he is like this like sexually frustrated guy. Like, here's a telltale sign. These guys will inevitably tell you that they're like married or they have many female friends when you are not asking and have not made a point about it.
okay.
And you're like, oh, I'm talking to a loser right now.
Okay.
But there's a time. You have nothing to do going on in your life. It's a Saturday or Sunday morning. You're an absolute loser, and all you want to do is pick a fight with a stranger on the internet.
I just I I think I just try and call them. Like I'm like, hey, like, can you yell at me over the phone? You know?
Yeah.
Like I mean, you care about me, right? So just yell at me over the phone and we'll see where we're at because you texting me back and forth, that's gonna take like 6 hours, right? So just
That's what they want. They want the long look. Everyone likes to fight on the terms they feel they can win on. Those guys, they're definitely not going to win in meat space against you. So they're going to try to own you on the internet.
I'm fine with phone space. A lot of times though, like you can find out like you can kind of figure out like how you're perceived. And also if someone's yelling in your face, they're not lying.
Sure.
So it's an honest conversation, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
That's
like my thing is just after years of the gym and just heavy lifting, like I I just rewired myself where I have a different stress capacity where yelling just does nothing for me. Um,
it is brutal. I mean, if you had, I'm sure you've had an argument where someone they hit you with, "Why are you yelling at me?" And you're like, "What the fuck is happening right now? I'm speaking at a normal volume."
right.
You know that person's spinning. They are reeling if they pop that one out.
So I mean for me it's interesting. Like maybe you can get a good article out of it. There's always a way to gain from it.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, and like in my book, I read about Indians, right? Like brown beta males and stuff like that. And
Uh-huh.
I had clients, and I got into like very serious cultural conflicts with them, which are unresolvable. But they were yelling, and it was racial. But you know, to write, it requires a lot of libido. And because of these Indian Pakistani men yelling at me, I was able to understand them and I was able to write an article. Like, was it pleasant? No, but I you did benefit from it, right? So, you know, you're a strong man. Just like remember that what's that one where people like call you to talk shit? What was that? It was like this old YouTube thing.
Oh, I don't know if I know about this.
There was this joke like you can call like Cleo the magic woman to tell your future, or you can call these guys and they're
Oh,
just
I
gonna
know.
talk
It was
shit.
like the Thug Hotline or something. Yeah,
Thug
yeah, yeah.
hotline. And so I was like, oh, I'm just gonna like okay, like what's up? And yeah, so
People got to blow it out. I mean, do you ever do this? Like, I mean, you can get away with it. Or do you ever feel like you're kind of getting a little angry, like with someone it's setting on, and you have this moment of clarity when you're like, I'm not really mad at this person per se. Like, I had 7 things go wrong this week and this guy's just like the eighth. But then you're like, you know what? It's okay to have a sacrificial lamb now and then. Let me give this guy nightmares for a little bit.
yeah, I
And you're
just
like, I understand I'm overreacting a little bit and that I'm yelling at a symbol and not a human. But sometimes you need a human to occupy a symbolic role for
but
you,
then you're like,
where you eviscerate them in front of their work colleagues or something.
do you have this thing where they're like, okay, like if I yell at him, then I'm gonna fry out my nervous system and then I can't hit my PRs?
I do have a talk with myself where I'm like, if I have something important to get to later, I can't do it because I know it's all I'm going to think about for the
Like
rest.
if I yell at this guy, like I'm not gonna get the same blood flow. I'm not gonna hit my weights too well. My erection's not gonna work as well.
Oh
And
no,
then,
my dick is gonna work perfect
oh,
after I
okay,
yell at someone for
okay.
sure.
Um, yeah, it just I don't know because I work online really, so I don't really get that. And then like with the Mexicans, like they don't know who I am, and I don't know who they are either.
Yeah,
Um, so I guess yeah, I guess that I don't know. I remember the pandemic had a lot of yelling though.
yeah.
That
Like
was
I'll tell you, I can remember, so I don't do this a lot, but
yeah.
I do it occasionally. I can remember a long time ago, I was working this shitty job, okay? I worked at this members only club in Manhattan.
Okay.
And it's like for old conservatives, but like to paint a picture, these are like people who are uber wealthy, but they wear like shitty wool clothes with like elbow patches. They're not like wearing Gucci and Fendi and shit like that. They're like
Okay.
extremely stuffy, dusty old white people.
Okay.
And I was working there and it was like a Friday. And I got off work, I think at like 6 or 7 p.m. on Fridays. You know, it's New York, so shit's still going on. It's
Okay.
fine. But I'm in like the last 10 minutes or so of my shift and I take a phone call and this guy is an absolute dick to me. It's like literally the last thing I'm doing before I leave the office. I can't remember like what the resolution is. We hang up the phone and I am like steaming. Like it's a shitty job. I'm not
Okay.
paid enough. And this guy's lighting me up right on Friday night, right before I'm getting ready to go home and go out. And I can remember, I think I run home, shower, change my clothes, and I get on the train again to go hang out with my friend.
Okay.
And on the subway platform, like what happens is the train is like stopped and we're getting ready to take off again.
Right.
And on the subway platform, there's like this obese white homeless lady.
Oh, okay.
And she looks at me and she just looks at my face.
Yeah.
And I look back at her because like I'm having a shitty day. And she's mad and she starts saying like fuck you or something like this to me or like flipping me off.
Okay.
And I look at her and I'm like, oh, game on, bitch. Like
Okay.
I've been steaming for like 2 hours waiting for someone to fuck with me right now. Fuck you. So I look at her and the listening audience won't be able to see this, but I basically make this shape and I go, like asshole licking just
Yeah.
universal sign language for getting your salad tossed.
Yeah.
And she looks at me like, what the fuck? And the doors actually open again.
Yeah.
And they close at the last second before she can get on and it takes off.
Nice.
Felt like $1 million.
Oh, oh, okay.
And my point being is like sometimes you really do got to just take it out on a stranger.
Oh, okay.
You are that person for some people on the internet. You're
Okay.
the homeless lady on the tracks.
Okay. So have you ever had the old Jack 3D with meth in it?
No, I've
Oh,
taken some pretty aggressive pre-workouts, but not that one.
okay. So back in the day, back when I was in college in my undergrad, I just got this jacked. And so we're all basically on meth. And we get into the car to go to the gym. And my friend uh cut like this is Irvine's, they're all Asian. My friend cuts off this Asian guy and then there's a red light and he stops next to us and he rolls down the window and he goes, "You are cutting me off." And then my friend my friend just does the Asian eyes and goes, "Oh." And then the man is so pissed. It's like a Korean man. He takes the steering wheel and he like shakes it. He goes, "Ah!" He's shaking the steering wheel. And then my friend like zooms off. And it was like, you know, when you're laughing so hard, you have to be like, I have to breathe in through my nose because I'm
Yeah.
gonna start choking. This is too much for me. So that was yeah, that was trying to think of other situations. For me, like just because I mean, you can see my traps. Because I'm so muscular, people expect me to yell. So
Yeah.
I
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
once you hit a size, so I went on an interview to like a legal internship, and they wanted to pay me like 1050 and in LA. and they're like, oh, this is what we're gonna pay you and stuff. And like, and I was like, let me ask you a question. Like, it's kind of strange though. Is that okay? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, are you a time traveler? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, is that closet like a time machine? And they're like, no. Oh, because like the wage you're trying to pay me is from the 1930s. And then they're like, no, because I just thought you were a time traveler. You're not a time traveler. And so instead of the rage, you just introduce something that's so stupid. And then he's like, I'm not a time traveler. I know. I'm like, okay, okay. Let me ask you a question. Legal research, is that like a euphemism for making like a burrito at Chipotle? Is that maybe you're speaking different and when you want me to make you a burrito like across the street. So for me, it's like if I yell, they're gonna be like, it's a muscular yelling guy.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, dude, I have had worries about people calling the cops before because they'll throw me in the back of a squad car without
Yeah.
thinking, no question.
Yeah.
They're
So
like the first person who shrieks, yeah, yeah, it's going down for sure.
so I always like I always try and ask them like the most retarded shit.
Yeah.
Uh so that's my
I
thing.
pick and choose, but
Yeah.
my point was sometimes I know that I'm like doing this thing where like what I'm really doing is just blowing steam out, but
Right.
there's like an object for the release of the steam. And it's important to know if and when you're going to do it when you feel it setting on, but also like if you're going to do it, you should at least do it knowing you're yelling at a symbol and the person in front of you is not responsible for all the problems in your life, just the problems they're causing at the moment.
Or like I was working out with a girlfriend at the time at a gym, and then they accused me of training her. I'm like, this is my girlfriend. This guy got in my face. He's a personal trainer. And then like he's yelling. And then I'm like, okay, let me ask you, are you yelling at me or you're trying to have sex with me? And you're jealous of because I'm confused. And so because like once there's a confrontation and you're big, they cast you as that role.
For sure, absolutely.
And I don't want to create that dynamic like because it's a losing dynamic, you know? Uh
Yeah, I think as long as you're careful when you're doing it and when you don't.
yeah.
Yeah. Um
So
yeah, go
let,
ahead.
let's hit some harder like academic questions, I guess. Let's do something like close out with something difficult and deep. Um
Something difficult and deep. Okay.
because
I don't know,
yeah,
man. I actually, so I normally mark books up, but this is like a really nice hard
don't do
copy. Yeah,
it. Don't mark up my wizard book.
yeah, I didn't fuck with the wizard book. But man, there's a lot. I mean, the thing as I was saying before, the thing that stuck out to me that was one of the more interesting things was really just the temporality, where you talk more about COVID in Ukraine and even like trans stuff. You had like a very healthy kind of framing or way like a take, which is like you don't have to engage with all this bullshit. Like some of this stuff is very much here for you to spin your wheels out on and like
Right.
take a bunch of energy you could dedicate to like just making some money or like having fun, being with girls, whatever, even going to a bar. Christ, like that is probably a better use of your time than getting into like an online war over transgenderism, like being the what's her name, Chandra Hardy of Trunism or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's no it's a bad look for her, which is why it's also a bad look for you to yell at her.
Well, I think an interesting argument on transgenderism is as soon as women take any hormones, Ozempic, anything, they're already transgender. And we can talk about biological essentialism, and they're going to be acting differently than they would in nature,
Yeah,
right?
sure, for sure.
So, or like if you've been in gyms and around steroid men, like that's a different gender. That's its own. Stone Cold Steve Austin is post male, right?
Yeah, sure.
I think that's interesting. I think the other thing is The same way that in the gym we can push a lot further than we think we can. We have like an egoic barrier of like how much on leg press can you do and how
Right.
much can
If
you
you tell
really
some,
do?
you talk about this in the book. It's basically like if you tell someone to hit 12 reps, they will always only hit 12 reps. It's because you're placing a limit on it.
Right. And so there's a lot of people who they can learn deep philosophy if it's presented properly, right? They can hit those reps if it's presented properly. And we can push people far further than where they think they're capable of going. And I think with this book, I accomplished that. It's like I don't know if you've encountered Heidegger before or some of these ideas, and you said you normally wouldn't engage, but haha, I got you. I got you to do more reps, you know? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't nerd out on the philosophy stuff as much. There are exceptions. I've read probably almost everything Yarvin's written before.
Okay.
Um, there was like the philosophers of our time are really bloggers. I had back in the day read a fair amount, but not anything that heavy on Slate Star Codex, now Astral Anal Codex 10 or whatever.
Okay.
And the other one though, who's great, still kills it, is there was a blog, it's still up. It's called The Last Psychiatrist.
Oh, I
Very
saw
interesting.
that.
In the beginning, the guy was just doing very esoteric stuff on like drug trials and like stuff that's inaccessible to someone like me, mostly out of boredom, not like it goes over my head. It's just like I don't give a fuck. But in his last few years, it was all like cultural and sociological commentary. And he's like a philosopher I've read.
Have you
I'll
seen?
call him one. But like at the end of the day, you're right, is like I haven't read a lot of that stuff in the same way. Like, you don't have to study econ per se to understand a lot of economics. Now, like, if you have no fucking clue what you are talking about, you probably shouldn't be talking about it on the internet a ton. But like, basic economics is readily understandable for someone with a decent
Okay.
IQ. And so I think one of the reasons I haven't read a lot of like capital P philosophy is because I read stuff like this. The last I'll name drop as I am frequent to do. There's a Substacker named Dimitri, and his blog is called "The Dosage Makes It So." He is another jacked guy who has our phenotype,
Okay.
and he writes excellent shit. He just put one out today that's very good. His big thing is he talks about biofoundationalism,
Okay.
how politics are downstream of what we're talking about. Like you're they're downstream of your biology and the selection pressures your biology's been put under.
Okay.
There's a reason why big jacked guys tend to be like, don't mess with me so much. And if you're like a little small bean, you want like infinite welfare and people holding doors open for you and shit like that.
Because the point I want to make is that there's the establishment, and I feel like we need to tech up more.
Yeah,
Like, okay, like, you know, when you operate a small gym and there's like 24-hour fitness, and you need to take on the big guys, right?
right.
And in order to take on the big guys, you need more technology. You need to come to the battle. Like, what makes a ranger a ranger? They're a strong guy, and they can come into the battle with a lot of ammunition, right? The big guns
Yep.
and a rocket launcher, right? So, unlike an infantry dork, they have the body to haul all of that into the battlefield, right?
Right.
And so I want to get people like you to read more, whatever it is, so that when you go up against Robert Reich, you have all those grenades to throw at him.
Yeah.
Because it is a competitive sport.
It
Um,
is, like, well, yeah, you're right. I mean, I would say my competitive advantage is rhetoric, and I do truly not really put stuff out if I don't have anything to say. That's a problem. Like all the people on the leaderboard, obviously, they're posting frequently. It's one of the ways you get on the leaderboard.
okay.
But like, I don't see a point in me writing something if I don't have something to say. So yeah, I could probably be helped by having more things to say, but Robert Reich, like is he really telling like particularly interesting stories? Like I have a very unique perspective. I'm different from every person I know. And so I'm going to come at that at any given topic with a set of like potentially relevant stories and framing that's just my AP kind of signature or whatever. But I haven't done it as much. I think I'm going to do it more, just like weaving in stuff from like my real life, like my experience out there in the real world. But I'm not concerned about those guys. Like Robert Reich, like who matters who reads him?
Well, okay, I don't know.
Does
So
anyone who reads Robert Reich matter in this world?
so I made my name by fighting Samantha Bee on television.
Yes.
And so I realized that a big way to win quickly is to bait them into a fight and beat the fuck out of them badly.
Yeah, he might not be my guy. It would be someone like Iglesias or Noah Smith.
Okay,
Um,
so
I took a
that
gentle swipe at Richard Hanania earlier this year.
right. So the goal is to bait them into a fight, and then since they don't believe in our biological essentialism, lay on the attack and blast them before he knows what the fuck's going on, right? And
I,
and
I'm pretty sure Robert Reich, of all people, knows about biology. Like he's been on like the shit end of this stick, right?
so, but like the goal with like a Richard, whatever, he has a unfortunate physiology, is ideally you get him in meat space, you over research. Yeah, sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, I'm gonna bring this full circle so we can close it out.
Please.
This is it. Earlier in the conversation, you talked about when you see someone on the street who maybe you don't like, you have the option of saying, fuck that person, or you can make that person your person.
Sure.
My long dream for Richard Hanania for many years has actually been that he just do the next logical step in the progression of what he's done with himself, which is he used to be a fat nerd.
Okay.
Now he's a skinny nerd.
Okay. Now I could
And
be a
the
jack
final
nerd.
progression is for us to give him the M to M transition.
Yeah.
Uh, like sometimes I wonder if he's like trying to save up for top surgery, but I say we go the other way on him and we just turn him into like a fucking Rambo. And
Right.
I think that the Richard Hanania on Juice would be unstoppable.
I think if, as a personal trainer, if you had a Richard Hanania transformation or a Mark Zuckerberg transformation, that's just a money printer. You're,
I mean, I'll tell you, I can make this dream happen if
oh,
anyone has Hanania's ear. I literally have a whole entire house that I will put him up in for money, like he'll rent, and I will come wake him up every morning and work him out. I will stock the fridge with only stuff that he's supposed to eat, and he can have the house to himself when I'm not working his ass out. I won't sleep there, none of that shit. I'll make sure he gets a fresh bed and fresh sheets and shit like that.
okay.
But I think that the Richard Hanania glow up, where he just does a cycle, we put him on a little base, some test, some DHEA, and I honestly think his personality and some of his viewpoints would change a little bit in a good direction, and he would just feel like a million
Do you
bucks.
think he needs like Prima Bullet or Masteron because he aromatizes easily? Just a
You
little bit?
know,
Just
I don't
because
know
I'm
enough.
suspicious.
I don't know enough about like all of like I know what is and was popular with lifters, but I don't know
Right.
enough about the alchemy of
Because
it
with
all.
Primo and Mast, like if you're high estrogen, some people like aromatize a lot, and you
Yeah.
can clog up that aromatase what is it, enzyme without putting them on an anti-estrogen. So with Hanania, you probably want to put them on like Primo or Mast a little bit with his test because maybe
Yeah.
he like listen to his voice, like
When I was in the Northeast, Winnie was super popular. People were real into Winstrol.
but it's
I'm in
dry on the
Texas.
joints, dude. I don't know. Like you feel
I
it
don't
in
I'm They liked how big it got them, how fast. But what I'm in Texas now, and
Yeah.
most people I know are doing mast and test and whatever else, but they do a test base and they're doing some mast and I don't know what the fuck else. But when I was up north, people would blow up on Winstrol real fast.
It can be tough on the kidneys. You can feel it
Oh,
in the
it's real
kidneys.
toxic. All the stuff that works is like hyper toxic for sure.
So yeah, I would. But yeah, so that's your authoritarianism is you wanna put them in a Soviet style socialized apartment.
Yeah, me. No, it'll be. I'll give him a. It's decently luxurious. I'll do it. It will be for a fair sum of money.
Okay.
But yeah, I would put in anywhere between like 30 to 90 days on this guy if
Okay.
he wanted just absolute kick his ass boot camp. And I would get him real jacked.
What's the Hanania diet? What do you think?
Oh, bro, I would, if I was speculating, I bet you the Hanania diet is mostly healthy shit, like,
Yeah.
but it's gonna resemble a lot of like girl dinner type stuff.
Oh,
So
because
he's gonna be having salad. He's gonna be doing like some olives with a couple cubes of cheese and maybe some charcuterie, like Starbucks kind of
okay,
bullshit,
yeah, he'd eat that
like
for sure.
grapes, apples, some crackers from his kids that they didn't finish. But I'm thinking like the way like a Pilates mom eats yogurts, some fruit. He seems like a fruit and yogurt kind of guy, a banana
Yeah.
yogurt kind of guy.
Okay.
Um, that would be my guess is he's eating like someone who wants to have low cholesterol and every year their doctor's like, good to see you. Numbers are looking pretty good. See if you can lose an extra couple pounds. Like this is the
But
Hanai health regimen.
okay, that's what he's eating right now.
I assume this would be my guess. I think he's
Okay.
like yogurt and banana,
And
like
so would you try and scale that up in terms of protein, or would you try and fight him to get him to eat meat? Because this little man's not going to be eating meat. Like you're going to have to force meat in his face.
I think he would if the whole game is that like I'm basically kind of putting him in, yeah, somewhat of a prison
Okay.
in like a major city in Texas. But like,
Okay.
I think that if it's all he has to eat, he's gonna do it basically,
Yeah.
and I'll make it taste good. I'm a pretty good
Oh, I'm
chef.
really good. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of oxtail in the slow cooker.
Yo, yeah, I like lamb and also being that I'm in the United States where we're all becoming impoverished again. I cook a lot of beef neck bone.
Okay.
It's like two and a half bucks a pound for like beef necks.
Okay.
I'll just cook them slow for like 5+ hours or whatever till it's all falling off. And it's very similar to oxtail.
Okay.
Yeah, real cheap.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, it's very funny, like just ending on this, the biofoundational shit, how like you and like I guarantee if we were both in like the HEB or at a bar or something,
Yeah.
we would give each other like the dude look of like, oh, what's up? How like, you find you have similar interest to people who look physically similar to you.
For sure,
And
100%.
I'm also Eastern European lineage. And it's just you just see these guys and you're like,
You just agree with everything.
yeah, like we're supposed to either be shooting each other in trenches or dying of alcohol poisoning on the tundra or some shit. So it's like respect when we run into each other and like the more equatorial regions of the world. You're like, oh, there's another one.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed
Anyway,
this conversation. But
yeah.
yeah,
All right.
it's a what were you gonna say?
No, no, you go, you go.
It's an amazing book. Everyone should buy it. Tell me who to mail it to without their consent in our Eastern European authoritarian style, and we'll keep rolling into the next thing.
I'll get you some coordinates and yeah, it's been a pleasure. I'm gonna have a link for all this shit in the show notes. And yeah, we'll do something again in the future. Thanks a
Thank
lot,
you so
Chloe.
much. Thank you. Bye.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Cool,
Um,
cool.
yeah, so give me a little time. I just got a new MacBook, by the way. I
Okay.
almost missed the deadline. My old one was like 15 years and I just got this. But
Okay.
give me I'll take like a few days or a week to cut this up and
Sick.
then I'll throw it up. I probably will paywall part of it just as like general practice or whatever.
Nice.
But also I don't know if it'll be in the same post as the podcast or maybe I'll do a separate one, but I do want to write about your book a little bit. I really did like it.
Yeah,
Uh, and no offense to the other guys, but like, again, I just have a totally different, rhetorical style. Some of the book reviews
we're
felt like
shitty.
they felt like book reviews, if you know what I mean. Whereas I would rather take a less typical approach. So it'll probably just be like some of like, yeah, I was in Miami fucking around and I was reading this book.
Yeah.
But like at least it won't be like I'm reading a school assignment or something, you know?
Did you okay, well, off the record,
Yeah.
you know that all this astrology and tarot, it's part of Judaism, right? Like you know that like this is part of your religion.
I don't know too much about it. Like usually when girls like talk about astrology, I just kind of check the fuck out. But
Well, Kabbalism is astrology and alchemy, right?
yeah, well, so from what I know, like a lot of Jews think like Kabbalah is kind of like made up shit, but like I
What do you
think there's
mean?
like you're always gonna get layers to it. So where are you going with the astrology and all that?
Well, a lot of people don't see like for some reason they're like, "Oh, there's astrology in the book." I'm like, "There's astrology on every page," you know?
Oh, in your book? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah, and no
sure.
one because for me it's like I needed to ways to organize it, and I organized it like a tarot card deck. So there's like the Wheel of Fortune, or there's like water, which is like falling, you
Uh-huh.
know, and so those astrological themes hook in to the chapters and the sections.
I mean, I
So
could tell for sure like the girl looking at all the dildos was related to the dildo content.
yeah,
Uh, it's a funny book for sure. Like there are certain things, like not to puff myself up too much, but
right,
like we have like similar approaches. Like sometimes at the sentence level when you're like you'll be delivering some kind of cold fact
right,
and you wrap the sentence up with a because like you live in this dystopian hellscape and you have to bury your penis inside of like a fat ass Latina or something. And
right.
like I do similar things where like I'll try to deliver something cold and then I end with a punchline.
You got to do that in personal training because sometimes you're like, you're gonna have liver psoriasis
Dude, there's
because you're really, yeah,
yeah, there's I don't train any of those people right now. I do find that it does make you good at learning how to take up dead air and dead space and talk and just like you're gonna have to talk to like a motherfucker who thinks it's fun to watch Saturday Night Live every week.
right.
Like figure it out.
Yeah, so I guess I'm trying to think of what do you write on? Well, like what are your core interests where you're going? Like I know what you write on, but like
I mean, I write about like kind of whatever I'm thinking about, or I think I might have an interesting thing to say. In truth, there have been some weeks where I don't have a lot, and I'm just like, let me just react to like whatever the fuck thing everyone's
have you
on
seen
about.
like Notebook LLM where it can like digest books for you?
No. I mean,
S-
I like actually reading when it's good. It's when it's bad, I don't like reading.
Well, like sometimes these like you feed a PDF into Notebook LLM, and then if you want to find that passage, you can just be like, okay, well, what does Heidegger say about this? And it makes
Yeah,
writing a
I see.
lot easier because you can
Yeah, yeah,
quote
yeah.
that person a lot easier. That really helped me a lot. I don't use ChatGPT to write my text, but um, like how do I structure it as an outline? I think that's been really helping me.
Yeah, that's interesting. Something so there's an approach. I have a handful of approaches that I think of as flurries, right? So like you're learning the box.
Yeah,
In the beginning, just jabbing is like a thing, but over time you learn like combos, so you don't have to always be thinking so much, and it just comes like second nature. So like one of the combos I have is like you might call it like a Malcolm Gladwell style of writing,
okay,
where like I don't know if you've ever read him. So he's like a neoliberal. He's full of shit, like almost
okay,
all his articles, but he's a great writer at like at
okay.
a technical level. He's extremely readable and enjoyable. And what he does is sometimes he'll be taking two concepts or two things that seem like different subject matters, and he'll give you like a little bit on A, a little bit on B, and he'll be
Mhm.
bouncing back and forth. And
Okay.
it's not till he's getting to the end that you understand why he's juxtaposing these two things,
Okay.
like showing what they have in common. So, like a classic one, I might be misremembering this, but it doesn't matter because it's in keeping with the general idea, is like he had one he did at some point that was like on pit bulls, okay?
Hmm.
And like pit bulls attacking, and like do they attack more than other dogs? And if I'm not mistaken, I think he was juxtaposing it with like immigrants.
Oh,
And
okay.
the point he was making is that like actually immigrants are less violent and criminal than our domestic population. But of course, he pretends like there's no dog inside the domestic population you could isolate and be like, maybe that's the real pit bull. But
Okay.
but you get what I'm saying. You get the approach is you start with things where people can't see what the fuck they have to do with each other. So it has to be carried by you being a good storyteller and writing nice, pretty sentences. But then I weave it all together. So most recently, I took a shot at this little moron Bentham's bulldog, this like little
Yeah.
twink.
What was that about? Yeah, I saw it. It was.
He wrote some like shitty catty gay little th like shot at Walt and his friend Cy. I know Cy and I know Walt better. And it's not like they need me white knighting. It's not that instinct. The instinct is, why do you think you get to fucking bitch slap someone? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes there's this thing happening on Substack where it's one guy calling someone a fat faggot
Mhm.
and another guy is like wants to smack him, and my initial instinct is you're both fat faggots. Like you're
Okay.
not allowed to do this. So I'm not saying that about Walt, but Bentham is definitely a little loser. And I wanted to check him in a way that was like, I don't even want to talk about whether shrimp can feel pain or not. This is like incredibly gay. I want to call you gay. The way you argue is boring and lame, and you talk about facts. Like you simultaneously accuse everyone like you and me of
Right.
being an unfeeling prick, and then the way you want to get us to feel is by showing me a fucking spreadsheet. No, captivate me with a story
Right.
about why I'm supposed to fucking care about shrimp instead of calling me stupid and immoral all the time.
For not caring about.
So I hit him with a story, and
Okay.
this is true. It opened with, I, honest to God, had a professor when I was in college who was my business professor, none of the writing people. And he taught me how to tell a story and how to like sell a narrative. And my point was, be like my shitty business professor who retired young and rich because
Right.
he was telling stories instead of getting on the internet and calling everyone an unfeeling, immoral little punk, because like that's gay.
Okay.
So that what it was about for me is being like, stop pulling calculators out. Everyone hates you.
Yeah. So let me. Did you? Okay. Did you see my interview with Simon Lard?
No, Simon's an odd duck off the record. I like
Okay.
him, but he's weird as fuck. I interviewed him and between us girls, he's the guy, he was messaging me little things in the middle of the podcast that I was missing. And then I felt bad because I was like clearly talking over them, but I was like, who the fuck is hitting the keyboard? Talk to my face. I'm right here. Anyway, what were you saying about Simon?
So he's libertarian and allegedly, but on paper he's completely opposite to me. And I felt like he was gonna attack me or argue with me. But then once I got on camera, he's like, "Oh fuck!" Like this guy's no, 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 no. And then he just redirected it into something softer.
I didn't. I should. I'm gonna go back and listen later, out of interest at this point. But he clearly has these like kind of gay Christian vibe. Like, no, some of my best friends are Christian, okay,
Sure, yeah.
but they're not gay. You know what I'm saying? Like they like to shoot guns for fun, and they have
Okay.
hot wives and stuff. Whereas like Simon is very much a libertarian meetup kind of guy, if you know
But
what I mean.
isn't he young?
Yeah, like he should be your client is the problem here. It's like to be blunt, is like I want to shove a steak in Simon Laird's mouth and get him like
So that's what I was trying to do. I was like, come to Mexico, I'll feed you meat and pull you into the gym. Like, what's going on? But like, I just feel like there's people have. I don't know, maybe you talk to these people and like they like you're really honest with me and I really appreciate that. But like they're like guarded and they have like a weird
Oh,
secret
he's
thing.
guarded. For sure, he's guarded. No
And it's
question.
like, let's just have the conversation for real. And I'll be polite. I'm not going to be a dick, I promise, you know?
You,
But
there is a weird thing I notice, like not to be like a total moral fag here or whatever, but like, okay, so like what I'm not a fan of is like low IQ anti-Semitism, right? Like
okay,
if you say something funny and smart about the Jews, I'll just laugh. But if
right.
you're like calling me a Jew in the comments or a kike, I'm like, I got better shit to do with my life,
Okay.
right? So Simon is obviously not the low IQ kind, but he might be the high IQ kind. And my point about this is, um, I respect people like Walt more because they'll just say what they they'll just call you a kike or something. And
Okay.
I'll be like, oh, I know what Walt thinks, and I can still get a beer with him and it's fucking fine. Whereas like Simon is not gonna drink beer or want to shoot guns or go to Mexico. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think
Um,
he seems very Anglo and very Christian, and like he has to like wash his penis 3 times before he like gets out of his like there like he's got a number for sure he's got a hit, you know.
yeah. Well, I don't want to intervene too much in your life, but one is like as I mean, I'm Jewish, but I wouldn't say I hide it, but I just kind of sneak around it in the Russian style. Even though like if you look at my face, you should be able to see exactly in 2 seconds. Um, oh, the mezuzah. Yeah, I think I got you a good one.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Also, what about do you have tefillin? You should get a tefillin if you're Jewish.
I do not have to fill in.
You should get to like
Here's the deal. So look, so I'm actually I had it independent of you. I think I might have mentioned this when we first spoke.
right.
I wanted to go to Mexico like this calendar year. I would like to go.
Okay.
I was looking to go to Mexico City, but maybe I'll either do one mega trip or I'll do
Okay.
two separate trips.
Okay.
But so look, I'm a married dude, so if I go, I got to bring my wife because I'm a good
Okay.
and she'll lose her shit. But we might be open to coming to hang out or whatever and link up or whatever. So like I'm not that anonymous, but like just people are weird. I try not to have too high a profile. I live in Houston. So I own a couple houses here. I'm probably going to sell one of them this coming year.
Okay.
Um, I'm kind of like, look, man, I lucked out. Like, I'm not a tech guy. I know shit about coding, whatever. I'm a
Sure.
word cell. I saved a lot of money independently. And then my mom passed away a couple years ago, and I hit a big bank through her.
Okay.
And so I already have money, basically. Doesn't mean
Okay.
I don't like, need to work or anything, but I don't need to worry. So I'm kind of like the guy at the end stage of like I like your book, but the book was like it's helpful to me, but it's really helpful to guys that are a lot smaller and dumber and have less money than me. So I'm looking to go to Mexico to check it out just for like obvious like economic reasons and all that. I'll probably always hold a house in Houston because I dumped mad money into one of them here and I'm still working on it. But I brought some of that Mexican flavor over here. I did this crazy tile
Okay.
walkway in
Okay.
front of my house. It's got like a mosaic tiles and shit smashed into it. I dumped a shit ton of money into like the landscaping. But I'm looking to check out Mexico because like I'm not sure on the US, you know.
Well, okay, so a couple conversations. One with Mexico is like it's a good place to have kids because there's no weird shit.
Kids are out for me, but I appreciate it.
Okay, that's that. Then the next thing, like, there's a lot of good property, and it's on the up. So a lot of times you meet like cool Europeans and stuff. Whereas like
Yes.
like I feel like the U.S. is on the down, and when you're around things that are on the down, you don't write as well. That's one. On the Judaism, if you're gonna meditate, you should just do the Jewish version because that's gonna align with you racially.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not here to push religion, but like instead of doing somebody else's religion, you should just do your religion.
Sure.
And a lot of people meditate in the morning, and that's really common in our personal training space. But once again, instead of doing their Buddhist meditation, you should do your meditation. I think that's really good. And I was just thinking, like, who do you have in your life who can have that conversation with you without really being annoying and pushing religion, you know? So
Yeah.
uh, that's
I'm
that's
not like totally against it. I'll be like, man, the main thing is just I do like some of the Judaism stuff. It's like, look, I'm probably not gonna be religious enough to be like conservative, and then all the other ones are like huge shitlibs.
well, that don't be anything. Just do your ritualistic meditation for yourself, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah, sure.
because those organizations are troubled and
Yeah,
political.
dude. You gotta watch out with those people. Anyway, I
All
do
right.
gotta run,
I
but
really appreciate everything.
of course.
And then send me who to mail my book to because I
Let
still
me
think we're in a
get
ghetto.
Yeah, let me get her details. What I might have her read it. I was and do a thing with her on it. I don't know if you block her, or she blocks you, but Crypto Gal.
I think she blocked me. I don't give a fuck enough
Oh,
to
maybe. Yeah, maybe she blocked you. I sent her a link of yours, and she was like, "Oh, I can't see it," and she was like, "I think they blocked me," and I just laughed.
crypto. I mean, I can
Yeah,
look right
Crypto
now.
Gal, but with a K, Krypto
Krypto
Gal,
gal. And that's gonna be on.
Substack.
Why would I ban crypto gal?
Maybe
No,
she,
no, she blocked me.
yeah, she blocked you then.
Why? I don't give a fuck about her. Why would
Because
she?
because you probably inflamed her because, as I said, she's like a centrist lib, but so she's incredibly based. Like, all right, I have
Oh,
this theory on Crypto Gal.
oh, sorry. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
I think that like,
See, she blocked me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that there are people she sometimes is having an argument with online that if she saw them in person, they would never be arguing. Like they'd be friends. But because she can't see what their face looks like, she just like I'm trying to think of like a easy way to put this, but like, okay. So let's say there's Jocko Willink, who's like some Ubermensch.
Sure.
Let's say you, who have not shot 50 guys in the face, are a little bit
Okay.
less of an Ubermensch than him.
Okay.
But then there's guys who love Jocko Willink and they're way over here.
Okay.
They're Sometimes the guys online who are talking like they're badasses are like fans of Jocko Willink, but they're never a Jocko Willink dude.
Okay.
And like my theory, all right, like this is just between us. Like I wasn't going to say this on the podcast.
Sure.
Your book is brilliant in a certain way that reminds me of old school Stephen Colbert.
Okay.
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 Where there's for sure truth and knowledge and wisdom in your book, but it's conveyed kind of through a character voice
Which
where
is a fun writing style. You know, it's
very
fun.
consistent. Yes, but it's very consistent is the brilliance. Like AI could model off of you and write
Right.
another book that's in the glow voice
Sure.
because the glow voice is different from like Stephen King or something, okay? Versus Stephen King, does he really have a voice at all?
Hmm.
And so my point is that there's a lot in your material for someone who's not paying that much attention to get knee-jerk offended on and be like the fucking MAGA Republican. And she gets in those moods because she's actually a very smart, hot lady.
Okay.
It's easy for her to think that everyone who disagrees with her is retarded.
Okay.
Like Walt and I have both done podcasts with her. She's an amazing co-host. She's great, very good at conversation, high level.
Okay.
Nothing steams her up more than a guy who is laying down certain arguments she can't refute. She's a fucking lawyer by trade, bro. For 20 years, she's been a lawyer.
Well, if
So
she's a lawyer, all bets are off. Let's go.
so
You
when
know what I
there's
mean?
just some guy who's like a personal trainer who's like, actually, I don't think that the inevitability of giving women, taking away the right to vote means that they're all going to get caged like they did in Afghanistan.
Okay.
Like when you start to be like, I get that you want women to be able to vote, but also your argument is hot garbage and women
Sure.
have never been in cages in North America and you can fuck off with that shit because we're not run by the Taliban.
Okay.
You lay those kinds of arguments down, in at least in podcasts when she can see you,
Yeah.
it's like generative. When there's a keyboard between you, she's like this fucking prick and she'll block you, I guess.
Okay. Because
But
there's a lot of
she
account. Yeah.
No, go ahead, go
There's
ahead.
a lot of accounts that you can get to on my behalf, like Rachel Haywire maybe is good for me. I don't know who they are. If you could just spam a whole bunch of people like, hey, this book's actually good, like you should talk to him. Because like I'm in a fucking shtetl right now. I
Let me see what I can do. I think the instead of me spamming people, maybe
however you
the
do it. Yeah.
let me if you're not in a rush on this, if you're
Okay.
more interested in a quality outcome over like as many of these coming out as possible, why don't you let me talk to Crypto Gal
Okay.
and see if she would be willing to read this? And we can do one. But I want you to understand it's going to be completely different from this because this was obviously a little more softball.
Right.
She's going to be like, this is where he's being a misogynist cocksucker at some point or
I
whatever.
mean,
But I actually think that's good for getting
I'm
people
used to that because that's what I'm used to. For me, that's the norm. Is the
like
fight.
but I don't mean to like that we're gonna engineer like a media cycle per se, but like we were saying, it is actually very helpful when you have a hater or a blue pill person being like, look at this cunt, and then restacking it. This is like, great, I just got another 1,000 views. Thank you very much.
A feminist reviewed my book yesterday, and I restacked it, and she liked it.
I think I might have hit save, but I haven't read it yet.
Her name is I'm trying to let me find it real fast. CryptoGo blocked me, which is Ratch, Rach.
Oh, like Rach, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And she's a full feminist who she it's there's like reviewing the pillars of wisdom. She's a very small account, whatever. And then here, let me send it to you. And she's a full feminist who read Andrea Dworkin.
So here's what I'm going to do. If I can get the yes from Crypto Gal, here's
Okay.
my big hookup. Maybe, so I did have a book club thing and I only did like one thing of it. I was trying to do it
Right.
quarterly and I gave up.
Right.
Maybe if I get Crypto Gal to read it, I will announce, and this is between us, okay?
Sure.
I will announce that I have a very special guest that I'm not going to say who it is. And that I'm going to, for book club, we're going to read your book.
Nice.
And only the people who are my paid subscribers will have access to the full episode with Crypto Gal.
Okay.
Okay. So normies will get a teaser. They'll get like, I don't know, 10 or 30 minutes. But people who are paid, who read the book, they'll be paid subscribers to my Substack and they'll have purchased your book.
Sick.
Those people will get the full episode.
Sure.
And I did something similar with a just someone else's book who I don't know that was very good. But I
Okay.
did it was a guest TBD, and the payoff was pretty good because it's a guy called the Perfume Nationalist, and he has a huge account on
Okay.
Patreon. So that I was able to get him for a podcast, and it was like my surprise guest. It hypes it up such that people will think the quality is very high when I tell them there's a surprise. So let me first see if I can get a yes from her to
Okay.
reading it, and then maybe we'll count. Like I'll edit this episode, but maybe we sit on it, or maybe I don't. But if I can get her to give a yes, I'll do it for a book club or something.
Okay. Sick. And then maybe in the future, maybe we could do an episode where like I teach Lacanian psychoanalysis to you. Because
Yeah, I'm
did you
down.
see the graph of desire in the book?
The stuff, the
It
appendices towards the
it's in the
back.
back. It's like it's PhD level. It's not a joke at all. This is a PhD level psychoanalysis, and it's gonna help you in sales and with your clients. And it's really, really serious. So
Yeah,
um
I'm down. Also, another thing maybe we can do down the road is maybe we can guest post on each other's.
okay,
This is a good way, like, so, obviously the name of the game is like getting exposure. And
sure.
then also, like, this is probably obvious to you, but like, just to state the obvious, book clubs are crucial, bro. So I briefly worked in publishing. It's like absolutely longhouse to death. It's like, I literally got out because my boss was like this feminist cunt and like
Okay.
just being a bitch. But, while I was briefly working in publishing, there was this chick named Courtney Maum, Maum,
Okay.
and she was friends with the people I worked for.
Okay.
And basically, as kind of a favor, like my thing was business development and events for these people.
Sure.
They had me throw her book launch party. And I
Okay.
was responsible for getting the alcohol sponsorships, hyping it up, all this nonsense.
Okay.
And it was for her first book, and she was worried to death that it was not going to do well.
Okay.
What the book was on was told from the point of view of a woman
Okay.
who catches her no good husband cheating. So she decides she's gonna take a year, or I don't remember the duration, but she just quits everything and does a Eat, Pray, Love tour around
Okay.
the world while she sends him postcards about how her life is so awesome now and he's a loser without her. Okay. What do
Okay.
you know? It was like an Oprah Winfrey bestseller, of course.
Okay.
Like women were just like flicking their bean all day, like
Okay.
him, like. But the point is, I knew from the jump that her book was going to be highly successful, not only because of the content,
Right.
who reads it, specifically women like that, but specifically the type of women who like to be in a book club.
Okay.
And if you're in even a 7-person book club, let alone a 12 or 20 person, you only need one bitch to pick the book for
Okay.
7 copies to get sold.
Okay.
And so, if I can successfully do the book club
Thank
thing,
God. Oh my God.
you may want to, maybe you can use this imprint with some other people. Like Rachel Haywire does salons, like that would be a thing. But maybe let me start with Crypto Gal. Like,
Okay.
what's cool about her is she's not a rightoid at all. She's just
Okay.
really smart and funny.
Okay.
And she'll talk about her pussy and sex and stuff. So
Okay.
guys, follow. If someone like her, who's like a very elite upper